Welcome back to the deep dive. We're digging into some really fascinating source material you've shared today.
We are. It's an ancient text focusing on Jacob, his wives, Rachel and Leah, their servants, and his father-in-law, Laban.
Yeah, and the bits we have paint this incredible picture of, well, complex family life and a really unusual path to getting wealthy.
That's right. It's a window into some deeply human stuff. Wanting kids, jealousy, competition, but also strategy, securing your future, both family-wise and economically.
So our mission here is to unpack the key events, try to get inside the motivations, and pull out the insights these old words offer about relationships, resourcefulness, power dynamics, all that.
Okay, let's dive in. The human drama hits you right away, this intense rivalry between the wives, Rachel and Leah.
It's serious stuff. It starts with Rachel, who can't have children. The text says she's desperate, jealous of Leah, and she actually says to Jacob, "Give me children or I'll die."
Wow, that's intense, right?
Yeah.
Tells you the stakes. And Jacob's response is sharp, too. He basically says, hey, it's not me, it's God who's stopping you. You feel the pressure they're all under.
So Rachel takes action. It's maybe surprising to us now, but she tells Jacob to take her servant, Bilhah, as a wife, specifically so Bilhah can have kids for her.
Right, using a servant as a surrogate. The text is explicit about it. And, well, it works in terms of producing children anyway. Bilhah has 2 sons.
The first one, Rachel names Dan. And listen to her reason. God has vindicated me. He has heard my request and given me a son. She sees it as a personal win, divine approval.
And the second son from Bilhah, Rachel names him Naphtali, saying, I've struggled hard with my sister and I'm winning. I mean, it couldn't be clearer. This is direct competition.
So what does Leah do? She sees Rachel doing this, realizes she's stopped having kids herself for a bit, and while she does the exact same thing, gives her servant, Zilpah, to Jacob.
A total counter move. Tit for tat.
Yeah.
And Zilpah also has 2 sons.
Leah names the first one Gad, meaning like good fortune, and the second Asher. Leah says, "What joy is mine? Now the other women will celebrate with me." So personal joy, but maybe also a public statement, right?
Definitely seems like it. This whole back and forth, using servants to kind of rack up sons and status,
Yeah.
It really shows the extreme pressure cooker environment described here.
Absolutely. And the tension isn't just about who has kids, but also about, Jacob's time and affection, which brings us to the mandrakes.
Ah, the mandrake incident. Yeah, this is a peculiar one. Leah's son Reuben finds these plants, mandrakes, thought back then to help with fertility, and gives them to his mom, Leah.
Right. So Rachel, still wanting her own biological children, sees them and asks Leah for some.
And Leah just snaps back, doesn't
Oh,
she?
yeah. Really cutting. Wasn't it enough that you stole my husband? Now will you steal my son's mandrakes too?
Mhm.
Just lays bare all that bitterness. It wasn't just about kids. It was about access to Jacob.
So Rachel makes this incredible offer, a trade. She says Jacob can sleep with Leah that night if Leah gives her some mandrakes.
She's literally bargaining with access to her husband for some plants.
It's pretty stark.
And Leah agrees. That evening, she goes out, meets Jacob coming from the fields, and basically says, "You're sleeping with me tonight? I paid for you with my son's mandrakes."
Wow, so transactional. It perfectly shows the strain in that family. And the text notes, interestingly, that God then answers Leah's prayers after this night.
Yeah, she has 2 more sons. Her fifth is Issachar. And her reason, God has rewarded me for giving my servant to my husband as a wife. Linking it back to Zilpah, even though it's right after the mandrake deal.
It weaves it all together. And the 6th son, Zebulun, and she says, God has given me a good reward. Now my husband will treat me with respect, for I have given him 6 sons. You hear her hope for acceptance there. And she also has a daughter, Dinah.
So after all this, the surrogacy, the rivalry, the mandrakes, Leah having 6 sons and a daughter, then the text says God remembered Rachel and let her conceive.
Finally, her long wait is over. She has Joseph.
And her words show her relief and hope. God has removed my disgrace, talking about the shame of childlessness, and may the Lord add yet another son to my family.
It's this tangle of raw emotion, human strategy, social customs, and perceived divine action, all wrapped up in this competition for family standing.
A really powerful glimpse into how those pressures shaped everything back then.
Definitely shows the lengths people felt they needed to go to.
Okay, so that covers the intense family situation. But then, pretty soon after Joseph is born, the focus in the text shifts, right? Moves towards economics, independence.
Yes, Jacob decides it's time. He goes to Laban and says, basically, I want to go home. I've worked for you long enough. Let me take my wives and children and leave.
And Laban's reaction is interesting. He asks Jacob to stay. He actually says he knows he's been blessed because of Jacob.
Yeah, he admits it. The Lord has blessed me because of you. And then he says, name your wages. What do you want?
Jacob doesn't just jump at that, though. He reminds Laban how hard he worked, how Laban's flocks exploded under his care.
Makes his case strongly. You had little before I came. The Lord has blessed you through everything I've done.
And then he puts it plainly. You're rich because of me. But now, what about me? When do I get to build something for my own family?
It's the turning point. He needs his own stake.
Laban just repeats the offer. Okay, what wages do you want?
And here's where Jacob comes up with this, let's call it unique, wage plan.
Very unique. He says he doesn't want wages now. He'll keep tending the flocks, but his payment will only be the sheep and goats born in the future that are speckled, spotted, or black.
Nothing else. Just those specific coat patterns.
And he frames it as an honesty test, saying, if you find any solid-colored animals in my flock later, you'll know I stole them.
It sounds like a massive gamble, doesn't it? Relying on what seem like less common genetics.
Totally. But Laban agrees straight away. All right, he says, it will be as you say. Maybe he thought it was a great deal for him.
Perhaps. But Laban immediately tries to rig the game. The text says that very day.
Yeah, instantly. He goes through the flocks and pulls out all the animals that already have those markings. The streaked, spotted, speckled black ones. Everything Jacob was supposed to earn in the future.
And he doesn't just move them aside. He gives them to his own sons to look after.
And this is crucial. His sons take these animals a 3-day journey away from Jacob.
Exactly. Separating the genetic stock Jacob needed. Jacob's left tending the mostly plain, solid-colored animals. Laban's clearly trying to make it impossible for Jacob's type of animal to be born.
He gives like a pretty dirty trick, honestly. So Jacob's response, this is where we get that really strange breeding strategy.
It's certainly unconventional according to the text. Jacob takes fresh branches, poplar, almond, plane trees, and peels strips of bark off them, making them look streaked with white.
Okay, striped sticks, what does he do with them?
He puts them in the watering troughs, right where the flocks drank, and the text specifically notes where they mated.
And the text claims that when the animals mated in front of these streaked branches, the offspring came out streaked, speckled, and spotted.
That's what the source describes as the outcome, the very patterns Jacob was due. It connects the visual stimulus at mating time directly to the result.
Wow. Okay, so Jacob then separates these marked offspring.
Right. Builds his own flock from them. And the text adds another layer sometimes. At mating time, he'd apparently turn his flock to face towards Laban's marked animals, even though they were miles away.
Like trying to influence them even from a distance?
Maybe. And it also says he focused this branch technique mainly on the stronger animals when they mated.
So he was being strategic about building a robust flock with the right markings.
Seems so. The weaker ones, often the plain ones, tended to remain Laban's, while the stronger marked ones became Jacob's.
A pretty ingenious way to work around Laban's scheme, according to this account.
It certainly seems to have been effective based on the description.
And the final result. The text is clear. Jacob became very wealthy, with large flocks of sheep and goats, female and male servants, and many camels and donkeys.
He turned the tables completely, using this unusual method described in the source.
Wow. Okay, so let's recap this deep dive. We've gone through that intense family rivalry, the births, the surrogates, the jealousy, then the shift to Jacob seeking independence, that complex negotiation with Laban, Laban's immediate attempt to undermine it.
And finally, Jacob's, well, let's call it creative, breeding strategy that, according to the text, overcomes Laban's maneuvers and leads to Jacob's immense wealth.
It tells us so much, doesn't it, about that drive for family, for security, for autonomy, and the incredible resourcefulness, maybe even cunning people used back then.
Absolutely. The resourcefulness, the navigating of really difficult relationships and economic pressures.
So thinking about this ancient story, what does it make you consider about human nature, about how we deal with rivalry or negotiate or find ways to succeed even when the odds seem stacked against us? Do those details, the mandrakes, the peeled sticks, stick with you?
And maybe think about this, just based on what the text lays out. All those layers of negotiation, the talk of blessings versus clear strategic maneuvering, the manipulation alongside the ingenuity. What does it suggest about how people in that world facing tough circumstances work to carve out a future and secure their well-being, using, well, every tool they apparently had at their disposal, something to mull over?